So today's lesson is what Silver called the Imbroccata and what later British sources called the prime thrust. That is a thrust with your hand in prime or first, a descending thrust like so. Somebody asked me a little while ago, they said they couldn't understand why you would hold your sword here as opposed to say here, and the answer is that the advantage of open wood is of course that it gives you easy access to this thrust, and once you get things like bucklers and daggers and targets and whatnot, this becomes not just useful but absolutely indispensable, the ability to drop the point in from above. And if you're good at this, once you get your point accuracy up, every time you would otherwise countercut from open fight slipping back, you can instead use the point to drop into somebody's arm or face rather than cuts. So, points to note about the thrust. First of all, true times apply to thrusts as much as they do to cuts. And not only is it about getting the threat out there before you put your foot in, it's also about point accuracy. In essence, you need to aim before you fire if you want to land a thrust accurately. You have to point your sword at the target with your arm as extended as it's going to be, and then step in. If you try and do that all at once, you will miss, okay? You must aim before you fire. Extend your thrust before you step. Second thing about this thrust is that it does not plunge downwards. So I'm not driving it through that hole like that. What I'm doing is bringing a point online and pressing forwards in a straight line. My arm moves to here and it stays there, and I press forwards. What this would do, should it actually hit something, okay, is the point would enter somebody's chest like that and then slice upwards as it went through. So instead of punching a hole and going through the hole, it would punch a hole and then slice upwards as the sword is driven forward through the target. So it would actually make a nastier hole as well. And the third point about it is, and this is another reason why you want your arm at full extension before you step in, is that from here, with your arm extended and now uncommitted to any other action, if people deflect it away, you can turn it into a cut really, really easily. So this thrust isn't likely to hit. Well, actually, it can hit like any direct attack, it might hit, but even if the other guy does something about it, you've got a good chance of redoubling the attack. Okay, so how do we do it? Well, first of all, we're just going to do it in a straight pass forward from open wood. So I'm going to come in the usual fashion. When I think I'm in distance, point at my target and pass. And hopefully hit it like that. Now, with a nice thin Pell like this was going to be really good for your point accuracy. Being able to hit that target, even though it's really thin, is going to be really good practice. Once you've got that on a direct pass, the second thing to do is to do it on a triangle step. And this is what you would end up doing against someone in, say, garden fight. You would come in with the thrust there. As they parry, you would then circle around for a redoublement to hit them on the head. This is something that is mentioned by Silver. This is straight from the manual. And it is best done on a triangle step. The idea being this. In fact, I'll come in from the other side. Let's assume the sword is over there in garden. Should be hanging down, but we'll use our imagination. I drop this in. I pass forward and right. As they parry my sword this way, I step back with the other foot to redouble the attack. So this is like a double attack. thrust, cut. Okay? And if you can do that, this thrust is a real thrust, okay? If they don't parry it sufficiently, you will hit them, so aim this thrust at them. Hit, hit, and back at a distance. So, we've got two versions of the Imbroccata to practice. First of all, a direct thrust coming directly forward. Things to watch are, first of all, arm adopts the Imbroccata guard before you move your feet. Extend before you lunge, or before you pass. In other words, aim at your target before you fire. That way you've got a good chance of actually hitting that thing. Second time, we're going to do it on a triangle step. Aim, thrust, redouble as a cut on your corrected step.